and welcome back to another episode of Grit and Grace Leadership Talks with myself, Kate Taylor, the founder of Taylor Care Group. And I am excited today because I have another special guest for you, and she's got some great wisdom, someone who I've personally worked with in a coaching space. Her name is Joanne. She is nurse and a registered nurse, worked at a leading hospital for 20 years. She's a master trainer in Neurolinguistic Programming and a hypnotherapy and timeline therapy certified magnet mind coach and intuitive coach. So I'm very excited to bring her on because I think she'll come with a different angle we often hear from psychologists and counselors, but I'd love you to just get a bit of a taste of what Joanne's about and what she does and the work she's done with me as well. I think will be amazing for you all to hear today. So welcome, Joanne.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, I love that we get to finally have you on my podcast. We've been doing some work together, some deep work over the last few months, and I'm really grateful that I've met you and that we got to connect through our kids at swimming lesson, and then we've ended up doing some work together. So it's just beautiful when you open your heart and your mind and who you meet out and about at different meetings or play dates and things like that. You just never know who will end up becoming someone that you work with in the future. So, yeah, I'm really grateful that we connected.
Yeah, it's true. And it's just, I just love being that authentic and spontaneous, self.
Yeah.
So it was just all organic, the way it all just came about. And I think because I just live what I do. So it just comes through me at any given moment. Yeah.
Yeah. And I always remember when we first met, you actually were at the swimming pool with the kids' swimming lesson. It's probably a year and a half ago now. And I was telling you about how I'm working on, my health and weight loss. I'm trying to get back on track with things and fertility stuff. And you gave me some really good advice. You probably don't even remember telling me, but I just remember you helping me reframe it and rethink how I look at it, because I was feeling like, I've got to do all this work to get to where I've got to go, and feeling really frustrated, like I've tried everything, it's not working. And your approach was different, and it kind of challenged me around how I thought about it and being the healthiest version of myself, rather than it being about weight loss and pressure and, just another thing I have to do, but focusing more on being healthy and vital body. And I think that's so important, and I appreciate that. And it's memorable.
That's the whole point of my work. So where it's all about orientation and focus. So it's the orientation of where we're coming from before the focus. So it's at a deep level. And so if we're focusing on losing weight, that's the process. And so I don't know about you, but if I focus on going on a diet and losing weight, I don't last long. I fall off the wagon, or I lose the weight and get into my jeans, and then it comes back on again.
Comes back on, yeah.
Because really that's a structure. Everything we're creating from structures. And so that's the wrong structure, that's a problem-solving orientation. And in that structure, all we do is oscillate. Mm-hmm. And we do it in relationships, we do it in our weight, and we even do it with our money. It just oscillates. Right. Yeah, I get this certain amount of money, and lo and behold, something will come in and I lose it again, and then I'm back to the balance point again. When the pendulum stops swinging, this is the balance point. Or I'll lose the weight, and then lo and behold, it comes back on again, and then I'm back at my balance point again. So the orientation that I work from is the creative orientation, where you will get your end result. So, and that is a strong, healthy, and vital body.
Yes.
So if I'm focusing and my orientation on is I'm creating a strong, healthy, and vital body, what does that look like? What does it sound like? What does it feel like? And then what actions am I taking to create this strong, healthy, and vital body. And that's regardless of whether you have a disease or whether you have a weight issue. I'm focusing on a strong, healthy, and vital body. And so now you're sending a message to your unconscious mind, who's got all the patterns and the programs running, right? You're sending a clear message to the unconscious mind, this is what I want to create. And now the new cells that we're getting every day, because our body is designed to regenerate, but the thoughts that we're thinking is sending the same message to those cells it was yesterday and the day before and the day before.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a really powerful shift. And I think a lot of people, have done talk therapy or different types of therapy to help with different problems. And you're more about future focus, creating the life you want, visualizing that, writing that down. Like, we've done a lot of work on that, making those choices. And I think it was really refreshing for me to hear that, because I feel, like you said, when you go to a therapist, sometimes it can feel like, oh, I've just got all these problems, rather than, hey, how are we going to work changing this? And, like you said, not just doing the pendulum swing where we work on it and then give up, but actually trying lasting change. And that's something I've been working on over the last few years, is really working on my inner self, not just, band-aiding the problem with a quick fix diet, looking at what I need to do long-term to feel that healthy, vital body. And it's an ongoing project, I have to say, but we'll get there.
It's ongoing for all of us, right?
Yeah.
And it never stops. I can remember when I was little, I thought, I can't wait till I'm older, because then I'll know everything, right? And then, and then I sort of realized as I get older that we never do. And we're always we're always growing, evolving, and expanding. It's a universal principle and law.
That's
we're
true.
all here to grow and evolve and expand. And it's not like this,
No.
you can't be at one end, of the orientation. We have to go higher.
Yeah. No, that's amazing.
We always have to go higher, because if this is hot and this is cold, we're on the same frequency as temperature. If I'm a smoker or a non-smoker or a drinker or a non-drinker, we're on the same frequency as addiction. We have to go higher, you see?
Yes.
So it's not problem solving. It's not doing the opposite. So I'm feeling lack and I want to feel abundant. No, because that's still the same. You can't fool the universe. You can't trick your body, You've got a diagnosis and you're walking around saying, I'm healthy, I'm healthy, I'm healthy. No, you're not.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's why we have to go higher. And the higher is, this is where I'm at, and this is where I want to create what I want to create. So now what action steps do I need to take to get there? Because then your body will line up and support you in that.
It's
because
so true.
We're creating either way.
Either way, we create for the better.
You might as well focus on what it is that you want to create and know where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Because if you're planting a seed of scarcity or loneliness, I don't have a relationship, I'm lonely, and I'm planting that seed, I'm lonely and I want a relationship, guess what will happen? You'll find a relationship and then you'll be lonely in that relationship, because that's the seed that you planted. And I come across this when I'm coaching clients. They say, she was a gorgeous lady. And she said, Jo, I don't know what it is. She said, and even some of the men that I date are really nice. And she said, and then I end up doing something to sabotage. And so we unpacked, and all the way down underneath, the core wound was, I don't want to be lonely. So you see, she was creating from there. instead of just choosing. See, the orientation of the creative orientation is I choose the end result of having a fun-loving, heart-centered relationship. Why do you want that?
So that reframe.
Because I love it. I'm not trying to resolve a wound, because if you're trying to resolve a wound,
it'll come out in another way.
The wound will shut up.
Yeah, that's powerful. And sometimes we don't know what our wounds are or what the deeper issue is until we do that inner work. And I think that's where you come in, and you're able to do that with people to help them really discover what it is deep down in them that maybe they haven't resolved that wound, which we had a breakthrough with in one of our sessions. And I found that really, it was enlightening, but it was also had to be very vulnerable. And so I think that inner work is so important, but you have to be in a place where you're open to receiving it and to doing the work. And I think if you are, you will do that. You will heal deep down rather than it being just a surface level processing your trauma and moving on. And so how do you start your day for success? Because obviously you were a nurse, you've worked in with a lot of sick people, and now you've gone into this holistic space, coaching space. So what do you do to start your day for success?
Well, so first of all, I just want to say, thank you, for being vulnerable in our sessions, because really that's what I want to create for people. I want to create that safe place for them to be able to go deep and really set themselves free, and that's what you did that day, so, and that is empowering. Yeah, that's transformational. Yes. Yeah. So thank you. And so now how I start my day is, well, first of all, I have, I believe in God, and I have a spiritual practice. So the first thing I do is, when I wake up in the morning, I always align myself with my meditation. And that's not asking for anything. It's just giving my time back to God, back to the Creator, where I believe, I came from. And so my meditation is just based on, connecting to God or Source, whatever other people prefer to call it. And so following my meditation, I then set up my choices. So so rituals, it's not like a routine. It's elevated by creativity, and they're driven by our intuition, and they're imbued with meaning. So when I give people what I call true choices, and they start aligning with that, with the essence of who they are. Well, when I choose to create a life I love, okay, so let's focus on that for a minute. Let's jump into a circle and really live a life that you love from your heart. What would that be? Not from here, not from the limitation of what we think is possible.
Yes.
Or our parents told us, go and study and be a doctor, or and we've all done things, for our parents, and then realize, I'm not living my dream. I'm living, mum and dad's dream,
True.
And I mean, that's all part of the journey as well, until we step into, well, hang on a minute, what is it that I truly want? And this is where I take people with the choices. So they're called true choices because they come from your heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
so that's where I start with my own meditation practice. Then I align myself with the choices, because once you start aligning yourself with choices, I use the metaphor of the nav man. Right? Because there's a whole world of possibilities here for us. And if I'm walking around going, I don't want to go to New York, well, the world's, okay, so first of all, my brain needs to know where New York is in order for me to avoid it. but I still
Yes.
haven't. But I still haven't said where I want to go.
Mm.
So when we put the address in the navman, we're sending out a signal what it is that we want. And then everything starts to align with that. But first of all, like I said before, the orientation, you need to know where you're coming from. The truth of where we're coming from. Because like when we did the unpacking with you that day, it was very deep. We didn't know that you were coming from there until we got underneath all of that superficial.
We didn't realize the wound was something from my childhood that came up, and I didn't even connect the dots until we'd done that inner work. I was like, I didn't think they're two even connected until we did the work.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was very the way you did it showed me that.
Yeah, because see, awareness.
So that was
awareness is key, because we don't know. See, so that's where the actual energy was. The energy was coming from that wound, and therefore in the end creation, that's what showed up.
Yeah, definitely.
So now what we do is we just pick up the power and we take it out of there and we place it where we want it. We don't have to resolve it. We can't resolve it anyway. It's done. You've already survived it. You've already been through it. Yeah, we don't have to work on it. All we need to do is pick up the power and put it over here and focus on what we want. So we put the address out in the navman, and the navman picks up on where we are, and that's where we want to go. And then everything starts to line up in order to get us there. So this is where synchronicities and little, well, like yours and I's, synchronicities start to show up. Chance encounters show up. You have conversations with people, and all these streets start to show up along the way. But in order for the streets to start to show up along the way, you have to be in the car. You have to be taking action. Mm-hmm. And then the next bit will show up, and then the next bit will show up.
That's true. That's true. And it's, I think it's so important to kind of give yourself a bit of grace and go, this is where we're at. And then go, right, now we have to do the grit, get the grit going and do the action that requires me to get to where my future self wants to be. And I think
that's where we use the will. Yep. Yeah. That's where we engage our will. Yeah. Because if you're coming from the problem-solving orientation, right, and that's all the ways that I need to fix myself because I'm incomplete. If you're coming from that orientation, what will happen is you'll find a way that the question will be, what do I do to cope with this? And then usually that's where they're taking their action from. Mm-hmm. So instead of going for what it is that they love, they think, the resistance is now showing up, right? The resistance is showing up that all the ways that you can't have that because you're not good enough and you're not smart enough or you're not pretty enough or you haven't got enough money or whatever it is, all the resistance that pops up in the way of you having what it is that you want as a safety mechanism. And then what happens is a behavior. So the behavior that you do next, that behavior creates and reinforces the belief.
So they have to go hand in hand to work together. Yeah.
So what you need to do is that's why the awareness of where you're coming from is key, and then engage your will not to resolve the problem that you're not good enough or you're not smart enough or you're not worthy or not pretty enough or whatever it is, but use your will and the energy to go for what it is that you want. What is the next action step I need to take to create this? That's the question. Because usually what people will do is go and procrastinate, overeat, watch Netflix, find a house clean.
Self-sabotage.
Yeah. My favorite thing is I'm too busy. I've got to do something. And I get busy, and then I catch myself and I go, oh, no, we've got to put the energy into what it is that we're creating. You don't need to do the housework now.
I know. And it's I found out the biggest challenge working from home this year is that I can easily get distracted by things around the house that need to get done, or go and do an errand, or go to an appointment, or all these things. And I'm like, hold on, then I don't have enough time to do my work. And then I end up staying up till really late. And I'm like, this isn't working. So yeah, it's about getting that like dedicated time to take action. So if your goal is to have a healthy, vital body, for me, it's like, okay, I know I have to get up and do my exercise straight after I drop my daughter to school. So I know if whether it's a walk, whether it's a gym session, whether it's a class, like whatever I can fit in, like I'll do that straight after drop off. And that's something I built into my routine after working from home, because then I find I start my day off to a good start. I then want to eat better throughout the day because I've done the exercise first thing. I also have more energy for my work because I'm coming from that place of being active and getting fresh air and all that as well. And funny enough, yesterday I said to my daughter, school's not back till today. So I said, right, I want to go for a walk down at Balmoral Beach. I want to have a walk, get some sun, get some light first thing in the morning to get me focused for the day. Now, she was not happy. She goes, I don't want to go. I don't want to go, Mum. Can we just stay home? Why do I have to come? She was carrying on. And I was like, normally she's a good sport and wants to come along with whatever Mum's doing. So I was like, this is strange. Why is she so grumpy about this? And she was tired a bit, I think, because we'd had a big weekend. And I said, well, no, this is something that Mummy does to boost her mood, to make her feel good, to make me healthy. And I'm trying to get more active and strong. And I can't do that if I don't do it now. I have to start the day with it. And she went, oh, okay. And so we went for the walk, and she started feeling, she goes, oh, I feel like negative Nancy today. I just feel grumpy. And I said, okay, well, you have a choice now to either be grumpy or to try and change your mood. Now, we recently watched that film Inside Out. Have you seen it yet?
Yes.
Number 2. And she goes, yeah, I feel like the character that's like bored and grumpy, she described the character. And I said, but what about joy? Why don't you feel joy? We're by the sea. We've got fresh air. We've got the sun. We can go for a walk instead of being at school. Like, isn't this more exciting? And then slowly throughout the walk, she started, her mood changed. And she was like, Mum, I'm joyful now by the end of the walk. And I said, see, this is why it's important to move your body in the morning so you feel happy. Even if you're not feeling like it, you can go, and by the end you feel good. And that was a really powerful thing for me to explain to her, because normally I would go when she's at school or at gymnastics, but doing that with her helped her see why it's important. So yeah, it's interesting how our families have to adjust to our goals too.
Yeah, that's right. That's true. Yeah, that's and see how and then your mood is the ripple effect in your family.
That's true too.
That's what's so important for us to set up our day in the correct structure.
Yeah.
And then, because we're not in control of everything, our circumstances that start to happen, but when we're in alignment and we have the power to choose, then you're much more easily able to adapt and adjust to what's going on externally.
Definitely. And I've got another question for you. Could you tell us a bit about your career path and how did you end up starting your own business? Because obviously being an RN is very different to what you're doing now. So could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So I've always been in careers where I've been serving. I started out in a naturopathic clinic, and I was there for 10 years in Manly. And then I went on to nursing, and then the coaching was born through like magical synchronicities that we were talking about before a little bit, and lots of personal pain. Lots of personal pain, to tell you the truth. I was still nursing at the time, and I started to apply what I was learning through the coaching. and getting miraculous results. And because I was community nursing at that stage of my career.
Yeah.
So following the breakdown of my marriage, you know, and then I got into the coaching realm, and I found that was really beneficial and really helping me shift, and then also understand how I was creating these things in my life, and it really set me free, you know. And you know, because it was it was a very challenging time, thinking, I'm a single mum now, you know, I'm working, how am I going to manage everything? I was worried about finances. I was worried about the dynamics of, you know, co-parenting and, you know, all of those things. And then, like you said as well, a shift for our children. Well, my daughter had to grow and evolve as well, because it was the first time that she ever stayed away from me, actually. And
wow.
So during the coaching, as I was studying coaching, I was still trying to juggle everything myself. And then in the end, I remember showing up one time, and we had to do a presentation because I did trainers training. So we had to do a presentation, and I can remember I was sitting at the back of the room, and I thought, I'm going to leave. I'm not prepared for this. I'm out of my depth. I'm going to leave. And then I can remember the trainer, Adriana James, because I was trained by the Ted James Company, and I remember Adriana's voice. The unconscious mind knows everything. Everything you need to know is already, you know, in the unconscious mind. And I was saying this to myself as I was sitting at the back of the room. And I looked up, and one of the young guys was sitting over in the front corner, and he knew what I was thinking. And he just looked at me and went like that. Like,
oh, wow.
So, yeah. And right at that moment, I sort of got a metaphor, like, you can't leave, Joanne. It's like you're ready to give birth, you know, and you're you can't leave now. The baby's ready to be born. And and then that was the metaphor that I got at that time. And then I thought, yeah, I'm going through a massive transformation here, and I can't back out now. So anyway, I presented what I did have, and anyway, it was really good, and you know, it was all amazing and everything. Like, it was just so much fun being in the room with a group of, you know, people all going through this big transformation, and hearts of gold to go out and serve people. But I went home that day, and I said to my mum, Mum, I said, this is really serious. I said, you're going to have to take care of Asira for me. You know, and so I told her she was going on a holiday to Nana's. Nana's is only a couple of suburbs away, but I pre-framed it in a positive way, you know, because I was thinking, oh my God, we've never been apart before. We've never, you know, and so anyway, I said, you're going on a holiday to Nana's. Anyway, she was so excited, but yeah, she had to grow. She had to grow through that experience as well. And So what I was learning through the coaching, I'd go back to work and I'd start to apply it with the patients in the community. Now, community nursing is very different to in the hospital, because in the community, we're in the same area for 4 months at a time. It's a very big area, but every 4 months we change. But nevertheless, most of the patients in the community are chronic, you know, rather than acute in the hospital.
Health. Okay.
Yeah, chronic conditions. And so anyway, I started applying, you know, so just a few language patterns and I'd give them a few little tools to visualize and focus on, and just getting the body in alignment and giving positive suggestions and, you know, setting their intentions and things like that. Patients that have chronic ulcers for years, gone. You know, and I don't want to treat or not diagnose disease here, you know, because that's not what I'm about, but I can tell you some miraculous things happened. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, yes, when our minds connect with our bodies, I guess, which then can help heal a lot of, or even they say a lot of autoimmune conditions and things like that are all linked to trauma usually. A lot of health issues that we have can be linked to different things emotionally in our body. And I think once you start doing this inner work, you start to understand that. And so, yeah, it's very powerful. It must have been quite amazing to see that transformation when you were working with your patients at that time.
Well, that was the one of the signals that I got. Like after COVID, I worked through all COVID and everything, and then I needed to be available for my daughter a little bit more. And, because I was trying to manage everything and the timing was a lot. So then after seeing these changes with people and me gaining more confidence in, what I was learning, and the depth of it, I thought, oh, this is where my heart is. This is really empowering. I can take care of people before they get to the hospital,
Yeah, wow. Prevention rather than cure. Yeah.
And then that took me all the way back to the naturopathic clinic, right? Because that was all prevention, preventative.
Yeah, that's true.
That was preventative medicine. Yeah.
And so tell me about your key areas that you specialize in now in your business and programs that you offer.
So key areas that I specialize in now are, it's all about aligning you and orientating you to creating a life that you love. And so what does this life that you love look like? What is your health, your health and vitality? What's your true nature and purpose? And letting people know that we are the predominant creators in our life. Yes, you and I are co-creating right now, but I'm the predominant creator in my life. And then when you connect with that innate intelligence and knowing and really remembering that we created this body. We had the power to create this body in the womb. And we didn't have to do anything to create it. We could just, create our heart, create our lungs and liver, create our arms and legs, our eyes and our ears. We had and that we have to remember who we are, because we are still connected to that life force energy, that intelligence, that innate intelligence that has the knowledge and the wisdom for everything. It already exists. If I said to you, Kate, there's a seed here, and when you plant this seed, there's going to be a whole forest that grows. Now, if you open it up and you try and look for the instructions, they're not in there.
Yeah.
But you and I have the potential to birth other children because it's already it's already there. That's where I take people. I say, if you close your eyes, go down into your heart. What do you see not from here, not from the ego, not from what do I want,
Yeah.
What am I trying to resolve? I want to make lots of money because I'm broke, No, not from your heart, and create from there. You will already see that vision. And once you have that vision, you've created a memory now, because your brain doesn't know if it's a memory from the past or a memory from the future. You've just created a memory.
So what was the name of the programs that you run, though? Because I think people obviously want to understand the different packages or programs they could work with you with.
Oh, okay. Well, I've got a couple. So Path to Power. So this is a 12-week program, and this is where I really put people on their path to power, because making choices is the most basic expression of our power. So Path to Power is my 12-week program, and then following that, to be with me for 12 months, that's Conscious Creator.
Okay.
That's where you're consciously creating all the time, and you're just living it. You are it. You're being it. And then I've got a couple of smaller ones, which is where I just help people tune into their choices, which is the call for orientational choices. And and that's 12 weeks as well. And that just helps people, get used to, making the choices and tuning in and becoming more aligned with their body and what they're feeling.
Yeah, no, that's really good.
Yeah, so I've got those few packages, and then I've got some Facebook groups where I do lovely, beautiful meditations and things like that to help the unconscious mind get on board with some things and help them be calm and relaxed. And
yeah, I know. And I think in a busy world, it's, as women in business or in life and leadership, it's hard to make time for ourselves by investing into programs like you do. And even for me, I was like, I don't have time, Joe. I can't do it. You're like, you need this. It's going to help you. And I was like, oh, look, I've just got so much happening. I was in a really bad place. I just had like a round of IVF didn't work out, and I was feeling really down. And you were like, this is the perfect time for me to help you. And I was like, okay, coming in completely raw, like this is where I'm at. And I didn't know what would happen. But through that journey, it's really helped me kind of get back to who I am and what I'm about. And kind of, I'd made the conscious decision with my doctors that I was going to take a break from fertility treatment. And I thought I'll take a break until I work out what's next and what feels right for me. And that was kind of my intention going into working with you, was like, I don't know if I should do more or not. And you were like, you'll know the answer. We'll just do the work and it'll become clear to you when the time's right. And I think that was really refreshing for me, because I felt like I had so much information coming at me from all different medical people, even holistic people like acupuncture. They're all saying, oh, you need more of this, you need more of this, you need more of that. And it can sometimes feel, like you said, like trying to problem solve and fix the problem rather than thinking about who I am as a person. And I've been taking that time to do that now. And I'm really grateful that I did, because I'm becoming clearer on what it is that I want and where I'm going. And if I do more IVF, it would be from a different place than when I was doing it before. So I do think it's really important that we take time. There's never going to be a great time to work on ourselves. There's always going to be stuff happening. But funny enough, we created a time every week in my diary on 12 o'clock on a Friday, and we've been out most of the time. When we were able to do that, we've done it. And so I think sometimes it's just having that regular meeting where someone's going to be checking in on you. You don't know what you're showing up for that week or why you're there, but the importance is you show up, and then you get to discover so many more things and learn new things. And I think that's something that in this world that we live in, it's really hard to, I guess, as women in business with mums and all that, we struggle to make time for us. And that's something I've really made a priority in the last few months as a season that I'm in. And I know my family will be better for it too. And like, we can't sometimes feel that guilt, that mum guilt of like, oh, I can't prioritize me right now. But actually that's when you need to make that time. Like you said, when you're going through a marriage breakdown or, something big happening in your life, that's when it's the hardest, is when you actually need to do the work. And even when you feel like you don't have time or resource, there is always a way. And once you open up your heart, the money will come to you to be able to get what you need. And the help you need. And so, yeah, I think that's really powerful.
Well, the thing is, when you take that 15 minutes out of your day, first thing in the morning, 15 minutes, everyone can find 15 minutes, whether you wake up 15 minutes earlier, whatever you need to do to find that 15 minutes and align yourself with where you want to go, then the synchronicities start to line up to help you get there along the way. The people that you meet, that support you. And like you said, once you're in alignment with that and you've set the foundation and the stage for the day, then that ripple effect goes out into your business. It goes out into your family. And it sets you in a steadfast place. You're more grounded, you're orientated, you've activated the reticular activating system in your brain. And so now you're more open to the possibilities, all the other possibilities that are coming through that you're not seeing.
Mm.
When we're focused
So
on,
your
okay,
tunnel vision.
I've got to get
Yeah.
up, I've got to get the kids ready for school, I've got to get, I've got to get to work so I can pay the bills on time, I've got to, and we're in Fauville, and then you're missing out on all the other possibilities that are available to you when you put yourself in this state.
Yeah, it's so powerful. And I've just bought myself a new chair that I really wanted, like a little to put in my bedroom. I'm going to have like this corner of the room where I'm going to have my chair with this little ottoman, and I'm going to set up a little table in there, and that's going to be my mindfulness corner, I've decided. So I wanted to create a space, because I was like, oh, doing it in bed, you kind of lazy with it. I feel like relaxed more than you should be. And so I thought, no, I need a space where I can go, and that is my mindfulness spot at night before bed, or like first thing in the morning. I can go sit there, look out the window and journal or do whatever I want to do. So that's something I'm bringing into my routine that I'm going to try now that I've got this new comfy chair to sit in. And I just got it on Marketplace. I just saw it and thought, yep, I just felt called to just like, this is what you need to get you in a focus each day. So I'll let you know how it goes.
That's really good. That's because then your body will orientate to that place. Oh, this is what I'm here to do, to get connected, to get connected with my higher self, my creativity, my genius, my intuition. My conscious mind engages. That says where I want to go. That's like the captain of the ship. He says where do we want to go? And then you've got your unconscious mind, in alignment, which is all the crew. Now, there are going to be some members of the team or the crew that don't want to be on board, right? Yes. So that's the idea of doing the choices, and then everything becomes aligned. Now, it's really powerful what you were saying before about coaches and things like that, because what happens, Kate, is even if you start to fall off, because we're human, right? We always want to go out, and then we're going to come back in again, and then we're going to go out. So the best part of having a coach is they've always got that container. They're holding you in that container. So it's not only your energy, it's my energy too.
Yes.
So that makes the field so much stronger. So Roger Federer never has a coach just when he's playing poorly. He has a coach all the time to keep him winning, to keep him the best, to bring out the best in him.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. If I was obviously going through a lot of my personal life when we started working together, and I was feeling so down, and it wasn't making me achieve what I wanted in my business, right? So we're having that knock-on effect. And it wasn't, like you were saying, it wasn't until we did some inner work on me that all of a sudden I started seeing these shifts in my business, and I started closing sales that I hadn't before. I got new clients coming in that I didn't expect. In the last few months, that's all come about through doing something that I thought was not even related to my business, but I was doing the inner work, which has then impacted how I show up in my business and the results that I'm getting. So I do encourage people, if you are in the field, in allied health, if you're working in the space, you are giving. And so why not give yourself the gift of a coach in the work that you do, and look at working with someone like Jo, because I think it's really powerful as leaders in the field. We need to support ourselves too. And I've never regretted that, investing into coaches and things and it took me a good 3 or 4 years into my business to learn about coaching and mentoring and all that. So it actually was something I didn't know about straight away. But it's definitely been pivotal in different times in my business where I've seen success, was when I've been working with someone more intensely. I think that's really powerful. Do you have your favorite quote that showcases grit and grace in life and leadership that you'd like to share with everyone?
Yeah, I do. And I really loved that, right? Because this is my work is based around this as well, because, what's grit? It's courage. And it's the will to go places that you've never been before. Right? Because that's why we're holding back, because a safety mechanism is in place. But to go the next level where we haven't been before, that's like a bit of a threat. So we have to engage our will in order to go there. So that's the grit and the courage. So the what I came up with was a quote from Anais Nin, and that is, "And the day came when the risk it took to stay tight inside the bud was much more painful than the risk it took to blossom."
Ooh, that's deep. I like that.
Do you want me to say it again?
Say it again, I think.
All right. "And the day came when the risk it took to stay tight inside the bud was more painful than the risk it took to blossom."
Love that. That's a good reminder, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's what my coaching is all about, assisting people to blossom.
Oh, that's a great way to wrap it up. I love that. And I really appreciate you being on today with us and sharing everything, your wisdom, your knowledge and experience, and the help that you've given me. And I really want to encourage people to connect with you. We were talking about doing a special offer for people that were listening in. So we're going to have the link in the show notes to connect with Joanne for that. And what are you wanting to offer the listeners, Joanne?
Oh, they can jump on an evolutionary call with me for half an hour, and we can unpack, what it is that they'd like and where they're coming from. And if it's something that they'd like to continue working with me, I can take them through a nice process as a gift as well, just for even jumping on the call. And then if they'd like to continue working, then I'm happy to offer them a 10% discount on any of my packages.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you so much. That's really generous of you. So Grit and Grace 10, when you speak to Joanne, if you are listening to this and would like to connect with her and utilize her for any of her packages that she offers for that transformational work that we've done together and that you've done for other people. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Okay, thanks so much for having me. I look forward to hearing from, anyone that reaches out. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, no worries.
Me to dance, taking a chance. Telling me to dance, taking a chance.
Thank you for joining us today for our deep chat with Joanne Colefax. I know that she will bring some insight and wisdom to you in your world as you listen in. And please check her out on social media on Facebook and connect with her, and would love to hear from you. Also, love and share this video and podcast, wherever you're listening to this, so that more people can get the word and get the support that they need for Grit and Grace in life and leadership.